I won't even get to the technical components of what a platform is. I think a platform, given what our business is trying to achieve, is more of a philosophy around how value is derived. A platform fundamentally assumes that it's a collective of people that at their core understand what they do really well and what they don't do really well. Whether it's a person or a technology or a company or a business, there's a fundamental understanding of why you are part of this, whatever it is. And ultimately, there's a collective goal towards achieving certain things. And I think that philosophy that governs building platforms often means that sometimes the interest of the user or the end beneficiary overshadows that of the commercial interest of the members of the platform. So that philosophy it sounds simple, but it's really difficult to find, because operating in the environment where businesses have been built on completely the opposite in terms of departure point and theory, that really takes the way you can approach and unpack value to a different level. I believe the way it interprets itself into technology or into shared environments or into transactional platforms comes back to that philosophy. Some of the challenges with building platforms is the way I see it, there's two rounds of return on the investment that you make up front, but you make a huge investment. The first investment that you make essentially may be to build the technology or to create the environment in which you're ultimately aiming to get the first piece of network effects around the use of your platform, right? So a platform is almost validated by the value that is created by the people that use the platform. The challenge is that network effect and that validation doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be commercially successful. So the journey you have to go to from network effect and usage and adoption to commercial viability is also a long burn. In the technologies that we've built, we found that, and in the context of emerging markets and particularly South Africa, where it becomes quite challenging for smaller businesses is, the initial investment to get network effects is a big investment. Then the next hurdle to get that network effect to a commercial state is a huge investment. So we often find people forsake, the wonderful end goal of becoming a platform to meet the commercial imperative quite early on. And so I think that's a critical challenge, is that most platforms are developed in a context where there's typically an abundance of investment, and those things don't necessarily become a problem until you have to monetize. But it's a huge hurdle to get over in the first place. I suppose there's clever ways, and we are in Africa, we are in emerging markets. There's clever ways in which you can get your business and your technology to respond to commercial opportunities without losing end sight of what you're trying to build. So when we set out on a journey to build a learning management system that allowed anybody to create courses in tools that they understand with everyday technology, we thought it would be as easy as creating a great piece of technology and giving it to people, not realizing the learning curve that they needed to go to adopt the technology before they even understood the value, let alone adding a pay gate or some kind of subscription to get access to the value. So getting around it first and foremost is just being able to get as many people exposed to that technology. And often it's just at the sacrifice of commerce, but it's to be able to at least tick the box around the fact that human beings use the products. One of the biggest lessons I took when I was at Facebook is that they took a long time to commercialize every single one of their products, including WhatsApp, because the philosophy they had in their technology teams was there's no point in commercializing if we haven't absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, proved that human beings will use this thing, right? And that is wonderful, because you've got a big checkbook that's written to you by lots of billionaires, and we don't have that here. Yeah. But the principle is right. The principle is expose your technology to as many people as possible and make sure that it's validated, and that will give you at least the first hurdle of the network effect, at least as a tick, and then it'll hopefully allow you to have some flexibility around responding to some short-term commercial opportunities. And in South Africa, I think from a technology perspective, lots of legislation allows you to do that, and that's what we've typically done. Is we've tried to use the wonderful systems and processes that unlock funds for small businesses as an example to make sure that we can continue to float our business.